Please welcome to the show a great nonconformer himself, Daniel Geltrude. Thanks for being on the show, Dan. Really appreciate it. You heard the monologue. Look, winning is a four-letter word in America. We don't like winners anymore. So we go out to punish them. And we punish them by any means necessary, but this latest one is this billionaire's tax. Now, I feathered in something else that's been bothering me is because Americans, when we are busy doing our jobs, driving the car, picking up the kids, we keep hearing this talk of equity, 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 equity. And most folks hear equality, or at least think of that means the same thing, but it doesn't. Equity means the same outcome. Equality means the same opportunity. And that's another really big problem. So we've got these folks that have done very well. They've excelled, and now we're going to tax them for that, right? And I don't even know if it's legal or not, and who knows if it ever gets off the ground, because a lot of times these things don't. But at the same time, I also wanted to make sure we threw in that equity thing there, because that's something we hear about all the time.
Our country is really all about equal opportunity. You cannot guarantee an outcome with anything in life. And by trying to do that, well, there's only going to be failure and disappointment, because life is not fair in terms of outcomes. The best don't always win, and sometimes losers are the ones who should have won. But what are we supposed to do about that? Now, look, as far as what we're talking about in our society, those that are billionaires who had a better idea and figured out how to capitalize on that, I don't know why we would blame them for that, because in most cases, they have made our lives much, much better. The advancements in technology not only have changed our country, but they've changed the whole world. And we should hold that against them and punish them for that. Score political points by demonizing those that have been successful. We really should be looking at these people who have achieved enormous success and say, hey, what can we do to strive towards that type of outcome? So we've lost our way.
We need more people like that, not less of them. We don't need to penalize them. We need to hold them up. And last I checked, I think they all employ a lot of other Americans too. So it's not like they're doing something wrong. And that's probably one of my biggest problems is the fact that, I lived in Europe for 16 years, and I would say London. Londoners don't consider that Europe, but they had a different attitude towards things. When I was with some guys that were English, we'd go buy a Ferrari. They'd want to scratch the Ferrari because they were angry at all the wealth that this person had amassed, where I thought, you know what? I'm an American. The first thing that came to my mind, Dan, was, I wonder what that guy's job is, because I want that job, because I want that car, right? Now, not that I can fit in it now or anything, but that was what I was thinking. And then towards the end of my stay there, I was there for 16 years. They came up with the idea, and I never went through, about a national limit on how much money you can make. Not just a wage, like there's going to be a universal basic income, but there'll be a universal maximum income. And I thought to myself, that's par for the course. I was mildly shocked. But then I also started to think, I'm afraid how they even came up with that idea. And that's what this new billionaire's tax means to me. I just want to be in the room and ask them that question. What are you thinking? Why are you out to, hurt these people that have provided so many jobs for so many and made people's lives better? And that's the golden goose that you want to shoot? I don't understand.
Well, it's all about politics, Scott. So there are not that many billionaires or people who fall into the category of, let's say, the super rich. So let's demonize them. And look, anytime that's happened during history, when you start to demonize one group of people for whatever the reason, it never has a good outcome, because those groups of people are not deserving of being demonized. Maybe one person, but not a whole group. So especially in this case, when we look at people who've been enormously successful, and I agree with you, we should be looking at them and saying, hey, what did they do? How did they get there? How could I mirror that success, as opposed to saying, well, you know what? They're super rich. I'm not. That's not fair. Take it away from them. Look, just because Elon Musk got wealthier this year, did that mean I made less money, or people I know have less because he got wealthier? Of course not. They're mutually exclusive. And we have to really think about, in a country like ours, outcomes rely upon our own actions.
Absolutely perfect way to say it. And I'd also add this to it. You know, you might see if something like this ever was to get through, they could be divesting themselves of their stock portfolios and hurting us all with the stock market going down like that. Or, I mean, just think if a lot of your wealth is tied up in illiquid assets and you have to pay a 20% tax on your assets, how are you going to get out of some of the buildings you own? How are you going to find a buyer for some obscure land that's got a really high valuation to it? I mean, this was so ill thought out. I just wanted to be in the room because I can't believe they actually came up with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if you or I could have actually stomached being in a room where that type of discussion was going on, because it's so illogical. But you're exactly right. Think about in a parallel to your everyday American, right? You own a home, and all of a sudden that home starts to go up in value. You did not get wealthier. You can't buy more stuff per se because of that. And then the government turns around and says, oh, you know what? Your house has gone up in value. We're going to tax you on that appreciation, even though you don't have the money from it.
Yep.
That's the parallel of how crazy the concept is. Forget tax the rich.
Right. So
the concept is faulty from the start.
So somehow I have the feeling that if it went down in value, you wouldn't get a credit as soon as you'd like either. So that's the way it goes. All right, really appreciate you being on. Dan, that was a great way to put it, you know, so everybody can understand it. You're owning your house. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Dan Geltrude is coming to us from New Jersey. All right, now